Hey, what is going on, guys? UFC 290 just wrapped up, and I already have two videos out. One of them being my full main card reaction, and the other one being a video on whether or not this is the end of Robert Whittaker's career. But in this video, I want to talk about the phenomenal performance that Alexander Volkanovski just put on Yair Rodriguez in the main event of UFC 290 International Fight Week. This is a fight where going into it, people were saying, oh, Yair's the guy, Yair's the guy. You know, he's got the kicks and he's so tough and he's got an unlimited gas tank and, you know, even if Volkanovski's winning every moment of the fight, Yair can still come back just like he did in the Korean Zombie fight. And this was spoken in great depth about by another channel, MMA Joey, and other channels such as The Weasel, Lucas Tracy, and other channels like that. They all spoke about the perceived level of threat to Volkanovski in this fight. And Volkanovski shut every rumor down. He shut every sliver of doubt. He snuffed it out in this fight with an absolutely almost flawless performance outside of a couple moments in the third round. But if you're Volkanovski's team, you could not be happier with this performance. Volkanovski has now proved that not only can he offensively wrestle at a high level, he can defensively wrestle at an even higher level against the best wrestler in the entire UFC, Islam Makhachev. He's the best boxer in the UFC. He has some of the best footwork in the UFC. He, in my opinion, has the highest fight IQ in the UFC. He's got some of the fastest hands. He's got crazy power. He has a good chin. The only hole in his entire game is, one, sometimes he gets overconfident, like he gave up his back to Islam Makhachev in the fourth round of their fight because he was mouthing off to Islam's team. And the other hole in this game is the way he defends head kicks. And that was a big narrative. Volkanovski doesn't defend head kicks well. And going into this fight against the mother of all kickers, Yair Rodriguez, that's obviously going to be a flaw in his game that's on full display. Or so you would think. But Volkanovski dealt with this very well. And of course, he could have dealt with this better by just, improving his defense. But instead, he improved his footwork to defensively move out of the way or in kicks. So he either moved in or out of range of kicks. And, something that Yair was trying to do is Yair was trying to pump out the jab, pump out the 1-2, and then catch Volk with a kick as Volk would pull away from him. Volk is notorious for trying to pull away from shots, and especially when you lean away from the jab, which is something you can see in the Brian Ortega fight often. Volkanovski, he likes to lean away from the jab, and he was doing that in this fight sometimes. And when you lean back, you're even more exposed to kicks to the body and such. And Yair Rodriguez tried to catch Volkanovski, tried to push Volkanovski back into kicking range, and then whip out these massive kicks. And even right when the fight started, he was throwing out these crazy fast question mark kicks and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, ooh, this is interesting. But I was honestly surprised by how successful Volkanovski was in the pocket, in kicking range and out of kicking range, And you ask yourself, okay, so what led to all the success? Well, I am not the best guy to break this down. If you want to, The Weasel MMA, probably the biggest MMA channel on YouTube, broke this fight down to a T, made an absolutely excellent video. If you guys want to go check that out, just go check up Weasel. I'll try to drop the link in the description if I still remember to, but he dropped an absolutely phenomenal video on this topic and just breaking down the genius work of Volkanovski. But I'll go over it really quick. Volkanovski, just common knowledge in striking. I've been striking for a little bit, and common knowledge is, if you want to kick someone, you got to push them back. You don't want to either miss a kick because someone pulls away too far, and you especially don't want someone to step into your kick because you're super vulnerable. And what Volkanovski did was he kept pulling away, and he was lucky enough to pull all the way out of the way, completely out of Yair's kicking range, and that's largely in part because Yair hadn't downloaded the data yet. He hadn't been on the feet throwing out stuff, downloading data for long enough to really get a read on him. And on top of that, he had been taken down and beaten up to a 10-8 round in the first round, and then in the second round gets taken down and beat up again. And then, you got the third round where he eventually gets finished badly. And, you know, in the third round, first round 10-8, second round comes out strong, but Volkanovski once again just puts it on him and bulldozes him. Second round, almost a 10-8, but Yair had some good moments at the beginning of the second round that, in my opinion, prevented it from being a 10-8 round. Not stole the round, just prevented it from being a 10-8. And Volkanovski went out there in the third round, and he was having a little bit of success early. He landed a really nice left hand, but Yair Rodriguez began to put the pace on Volkanovski. Volkanovski did not grapple in the third round, but, Yair Rodriguez started really finding the range on his kicks, finally started downloading the data, really started to throw a lot of kicks out there. And funny enough, at the same time Yair got comfortable, and the same time he had downloaded his data, Volkanovski had downloaded his own data, and his data was better. And what ends up happening is Yair tries to throw that combo, and Weasel pointed this out excellently. Yair tries to end all of his combos with that right kick. No matter what, even if he starts on the right side or the left side, he tries to end with that right kick, whether it's a high kick, leg kick, or body kick. And he tried this, but Volkanovski pulled away from the jab after throwing his leg kick. And you notice in the Brian Ortega fight, I thought this was going to be very important going into this fight, how Brian Ortega was able to catch the lead leg kicks of Volkanovski. Well, Brian Ortega was in southpaw, and then grab on hold of that lead leg of Volkanovski, and then throw that right straight or the jab. Yair Rodriguez did try to do that, but just without grabbing the leg or throwing the straight. So what he would do is, he tried to beat Volkanovski's leg kick with his jab, and it's super effective because of how long Yair's arms are. And he started to catch Volkanovski with that a little bit throughout the fight. Didn't do a ton of damage with it, but still, he did his thing. And he tries this again in the third round, and Volkanovski lands a very nice leg kick and pulls away from the jab. Yair tries to step into that body kick on the right side, tries to end all of his combos with the same kick. Volkanovski switches stances as Yair is coming at him with the body kick, switches stances from orthodox to southpaw, stepping into the kick, stepping into past the kick range, where the kick has no power. The kick has the most power at the end of the level. You have your leg here, and all the way at the end here is where, I'll try to center this, there's the most danger right here. When a kick smacks you, if it smacks you back here, this is like where the knee is maybe, you're really not going to have as much damage. Obviously you take a knee to the head, but you get hit above the knee with a kick, you get hit maybe around here, but if you get hit around the end, right above the ankle, that's where all the power of the kick is. And if you can avoid that, it's pretty easy to get out of the way of kicks. When you're in tight, it's very easy to defend kicks because there's not a lot of power to them. Volkanovski switches stance to southpaw, and as he does so, he uses that to generate a bunch of power. And he generates the power of all the Australians, all the haters, everyone stepping into southpaw and throwing a nuclear check lead hook that hurts Yair Rodriguez worse than we have ever seen him hurt in his entire career. And this is a shot, and I know Weasel talked about this is a shot that I think would have put down a guy like Ilya Topuria. This is a shot that would have put down Josh Emmett. A shot that maybe even would have put down Max Holloway. I mean, who knows? This is a shot that certainly would have put down Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira. And just Volk showed to be more powerful than ever in this fight. He did have lower output on the feet. He didn't look as fast. He still looked very fast, but he looked great. This is maybe the best version of Volkanovski I've ever seen. Because first it was, Volk can't defensively wrestle against Makhachev, and now it was, Volk can't offensively wrestle. Volk can now, at a high level, offensively wrestle, defensively wrestle, at an even higher level. No one's outstriking him. No one's outboxing him, at least. In a kickboxing match, a long-rangey guy like Yair Rodriguez can make things work, but you're just going to get taken down. So, And on top of that, he has phenomenal jiu-jitsu defense. He's so strong, unlimited cardio, great chin, super high fight IQ. There's barely any holes that I can think of in Volkanovski's game. It's incredible to see the progression that he's made into the fighter that he is today. Looking at him back from his Chad Mendes fight, a while ago. I believe that was at lightweight, and when I watched it, I was like, man, this guy's good. And I remember that fight, and now to see where he is now, he's the best fighter in the world. I just said it. You heard it here first. Volkanovski, and this isn't a wild opinion. A lot of people are of this opinion, but I personally believe that Volkanovski is the best fighter in the world, and I think that fight really just put the stamp on it. People talking about featherweight GOAT status. As far as I'm concerned, Volkanovski, win or lose tonight, was the featherweight GOAT. And he still is the featherweight GOAT, and he still will be, even more so than before. But after he beat the brakes off of Max Holloway the third time, I just thought he was the featherweight GOAT. And obviously it's very subjective, and I don't really care too much about the GOAT debate. But because in my opinion, the overall GOAT is really what matters, and it's John Jones. But Volkanovski, you look at him, and you look at a guy who he's beat Max Holloway 3 times. 2 of those wins have been one of those wins has been very dominant. The other win was dominant. He has 2 50-45s over Max Holloway, and he has a complete domination of Jose Aldo. You look at that and you go, okay, Jose Aldo is people say Jose Aldo is the featherweight GOAT. Jose Aldo got knocked out in 13 seconds by Conor McGregor. He got finished brutally by Max Holloway twice. And he got his ass kicked in a relatively boring but dominant performance by Volkanovski. So every other person in the featherweight GOAT conversation, Aldo has lost to, and all by domination. He was dominated by Max twice. He was knocked out in 13 seconds by Conor McGregor to lose his title, and he's never touched a belt since. And he was also dominated by Volkanovski. So, at what point are we going to go, how many guys can Jose Aldo lose to? He's got dominated by Merab as well in his retirement fight. People will say it's not dominant, Ref could have broke up the fight. I think the ref should have broken up the fight, but it's what it is. Jose Aldo did not look like he wanted to fight, and Merab didn't either in that fight, so it's what it is. But he got shut down by Merab. I won't say dominated, I'll change my opinion. He got shut down by Merab, got ass kicked by everyone else in the featherweight GOAT conversation. Excuse me if I sound super tired or like my eyes are dead. It's 4:04 in the morning right now. The light's gonna be coming up pretty soon here, and I'm very tired right now. I'm gonna get some food right after this and then go to bed. But Volkanovski, in my opinion, has just really he's really established himself undeniably as the greatest fighter in the world, or the best fighter in the world, I'm sorry about that. And he's quickly becoming one of the greatest fighters of all time. If you ask me right now with a gun to my head, I don't know where I'd put him. I have Jones at 1. I have GSP at 2. I have Demetrius Johnson at 3. Anderson Silva at 4. And then, possibly Daniel Cormier, but can you really put Daniel Cormier there? The guy that lost dominantly to Stipe twice, one of them being by finish. The guy that got finished by John Jones dominantly and then got dominated by John Jones another time. You know what I mean? Against a guy like Alexander Volkanovski, who's only been finished once, and it was at middleweight or welterweight, who now fights at featherweight. I just don't know. I don't know if you can put him there. You know what I mean? So, for me, I have Volkanovski right now. I'd have to look it over. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but I think I have Volkanovski at number 5, or maybe number 5 or 6. Yeah, dude, he's very close to breaking that top 4, and I think that with the quality of his wins, if he gets 2 more wins against good competition, maybe he gets Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, especially if he gets Islam Makhachev, But if he gets Ilia Topuria and there's really no one else at featherweight other than Ilia Topuria. There was Yair and Ilia, and he just beat one of them. So I don't know, but if he gets Ilya Taporia and he gets Aljamain Sterling and maybe has another really close fight where maybe wins against Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, if all of that happens, if he gets Aljo and Taporia, I would personally put him neck and neck with Silva in the GOAT debate. Like I'm talking neck and neck. If he beats anyone, especially if it's Islam Makhachev, if he's Islam Makhachev past then, I'm gonna have to put him above Mighty Mouse, and I'd put him at the number 3 greatest of all time, right behind GSP and Jones. Past then, so assuming he beats Ilya Taporia, Aljamain Sterling, and Islam Makhachev, and he beats one more guy after that. Maybe he beats Charles Oliveira in his retirement fight. Suppose he fights Ilya, he fights Aljo, he fights Islam and Charles. If he wins all 4 of those fights, which I would favor Charles and Islam against him in the rematch with Islam, and then in the fight with Charles, I would favor those 2 against him. I think Charles's power would be a huge issue for Volkanovski, but I could see Volk winning, you never know. And if he gets all 4 of those guys in his resume, I think that it would be very hard to not say that he's the greatest fighter of all time. He would have a much better resume than John Jones, much more impressive than John Jones. And, we're just speculating, though. This really doesn't matter. Volkanovski's the featherweight GOAT. He's been the featherweight GOAT, and he only has made the order even taller. And, I'm very happy for Volkanovski. I'm very sad for Yair. I hope that once Volkanovski retires, Yair steps up and becomes the next champion of the world. I love Yair Rodriguez. I love watching him fight. He's phenomenal. He has an excellent story, and I was very sad watching him lose today. But I'm very happy for Volkanovski, and Volkanovski is like 34, Yair is like 29 or 30. I really hope that Yair can become champion in the future, and I think he can. I really think he can. I really hope he does as well. I really want Yair to become champion. He's got to work on the wrestling defense, he's got to work on he's got to work on his boxing. Yair's got to work on his boxing, offensively, setting up his kicks, and he's got to work on his wrestling defense, of course. But, he's got years to work with, and Volkanovski doesn't. So, very happy for Volkanovski, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on the video were. Let me know what your thoughts on the fight were, all that kind of stuff. I read all the comments. I like all of them, respond. Let me know. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you guys in the next one.